Hello all, Rambling Canuck here. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, and I apologize in advance. But today I'm not coming to you as Rambling Canuck. Coming to you as just plain old Robert. And something came up on my last live stream that really got me thinking even more than I had already been thinking about it. So I want to preface this video by saying to those who come to my channel for science fiction and a good laugh, good joke, this is not going to be that video. This is something that strikes me at the core of my very being, and it has me very scared. And it has me scared not for myself, but for my friends that are still in an industry that I worked in for 17 years. This video might even get taken down, I'm not even sure yet. But I felt I had to make it. So I hope that everyone will understand that I'm not taking sides in this video, but rather I am speaking from my own personal experiences and from my own point of view. So with that out of the way, let me get right to the meat of this issue that I have. And that is, as of late, there's been a lot of talk of defunding police departments. Now, many of you may not know, but before I was retired, as I put it, I worked in the security industry, private sector, for 17 years. And over 17 years, I slowly watched as things that you would not expect a security guard to be responding to slowly being dumped on our shoulders because of budget cuts to the very department that people are screaming from the rooftops to be defunded. So today I come to you as an ex-security guard with 17 years experience with a little bit of word of caution. What really worries me when I hear the words defund the police department is the fact that in my experience, when that happens, it is the private sector, security sector, that picks up where that's left off. To give you an idea, over the course of my 17 years as a security guard, I have responded to panic alarms from banks. I have responded to medical alarms. I even got a fire alarm once as a security guard. And the reason behind me having to respond to these alarms was because the amount of times that this would happen and it would be a false alarm was astronomical. And it was starting to hinder the police department and, quite frankly, eating into their budget. So the buck was passed to the private sector, to the security sector, to my job. So when panic alarms, especially in banks, first came out, they were touted as the police would be able to respond quickly. Then they found out, budget-wise, that wasn't a great idea because a lot of them are false, and it was just tying up resources. So now what happens in most cases, especially from where I am, that panic alarm is tripped, a guard is sent out first, then the police are called. And the guard is to get there before the police to either A, call off the police department, or to inform them that yes, this is an actual, and respond in kind. But what that does in reality is it puts a security guard who isn't trained for that situation in a very dangerous position. For the 99% of the times that it is an actual false alarm, there's that 1% of the time it's a real. Another thing that got transferred over to the security sector in the 17 years that I worked in it was medical alarms. I had to respond to several where people have had either the medical response button or a medical alarm in their residence. And again, it was becoming a tie down of resources. And so the decision was made that a guard would be sent out first to determine whether it was an actual or a false alarm. Those alarms always made me nervous, because in the 20 minutes that it took me to get there, there could have been an ambulance on scene already. But it was my job, and I had to carry it out. And that's why that moniker really scares me, because at the end of the day, the people that are going to pick up the slack caused by defunding a police department are going to be less trained. The security guard sector, for the most part, lower bidder gets the contract. So you're not even getting the best security company, you're getting the security company that bidded them less. Least amount of money for the contract wins the contract 90% of the time. That may be different in the States, and I may be talking out of school. But from my personal experience, that's the way the security sector works. And they don't exactly train us as well as they do in other sectors, such as the police force, the medical force, the fire department. But right now, as I record this, in this city, there's a guard probably responding to a house alarm with a front door, back door, and multiple inside motion. And the police haven't been informed yet. They're waiting on the guard's report. And too often, I think we yell and scream for something and not think of, okay, if we get it, then what? So what I'm asking people to do is take a breath. Take a deep breath. And ask yourself, instead of police in riot gear, would you rather it be security guards? Who are paid minimum wage. They're not held to the same standards as your police forces, as bad as they may be. We're talking about the private sector security force, which is still, let's face it, a low target job. Not many people aspire to be a security guard. Many people aspire to be a cop. Many people aspire to be a firefighter. Many people aspire to be a paramedic. Not many people grow up going, I want to be a security guard. And I will grant you, there are some bad apples in every cart. But I just ask from a person who's worked in that industry for 17 years, please take a breath. Because ultimately, what you get on the other side might be worse than what you already have. And quite honestly, I don't want to ever turn on my TV and see a role where I believe the police should be there and it be a security guard in a security uniform. That thought scares me. And if anything taught me in 17 years of working within the security industry, that is exactly what would happen. Again, I want to thank you for hearing me out on this issue. And I hope that you'll all forgive me for taking a moment out of my normal programming. But this is something I feel very deeply about. And please, folks, take a breath and maybe give it a second thought. Until next time, take her easy, folks.